always, Jan for DifferenceInSkill, and I'm bringing you another deck profile as promised again and again and again. I hope all you guys who used to watch all my videos continue to watch it because I took a long break, and hope you guys forgive me for taking a break, no matter how dumb that sounds, because I haven't been getting as much comments as I used to be, which probably means some people who were watching stopped watching because I stopped making stuff for a little while. So, I hope I can make it up to you guys by pumping out some more videos. So, here we go. This will be my Musketeer deck. Musketeer is the new Neo Nectar clan that was released in BT08. The strengths of this deck follow having a lot of attacks very early on, so you have a good way of tutoring out front rows, so you can chip out as much as you can at the beginning. Basically, it's a rush deck, but it fares pretty well in the late game because of Cecilia, which is your main Vanguard, and I'll explain all these things later. So this is my starting Vanguard. Once again, it's the Soul Charge. Look at the top 5 for level 3. Now, in this deck, it's a bit special because most of the time, you're not going to be using its effect. Instead, you'll be using the Musketeer skills, which require a sacrifice of a Musketeer on your field, which this is a generally good target for. Now, if you do not have level 3 and you're level 2, you could use it, put it into your soul, but if you have your level 3, then by all means, sacrifice it, because it's like 100% more accurate to get a Musketeer off the top 4 rather than a level 3 in the top 5. So yeah, starting Vanguard. You basically use it because it's a Musketeer, not because its effect is any good. I don't want to block Patrulli's face, so. 4 heal triggers. This heal trigger is a Musketeer, so in case you have nothing but this card, you can still take it off the top of your deck. Of course, that's not what you want, but, if you need to. Any Ford in a storm. Now, 4 crits. This critical is also a Musketeer, as you might tell. Pretty simple. There's not really much to say about that. 4 draw, because 4 draw, 4 crit, 4 heal. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal is is the most general trigger lineup. I would test using more draw triggers, but I don't really need the extra draw power since of how the deck works. So this works pretty well. And be right back. I'm going to type a quick message. Okay, back to the deck profile. Whew. Now, for your level 1s, got a lot of shiny cards. But first, of course, Corolla Dragon, your generic 8K beater, or 8K booster. It's not really too necessary in this deck, but of course, as expected. Okay, I'm sorry. I knocked over the camera. But who didn't expect that to happen, right? Okay, so for 8K beater, pretty simple. You have 12K beaters in this deck. You can take advantage of that and make 20K rows. Musketeer, she is Ruth, I believe. Yeah, Ruth. So her ability is, if your Vanguard is a Musketeer, when you attack with her, she gains 3K. So she becomes a 10K attacker if you have a Musketeer. So pretty good. It's a K, basically, if you guys know what K is. Now, for Musketeer Rebecca, I'll explain Rebecca's skill. So when Rebecca comes into play, you can counterblast 1, sacrifice 1 Musketeer, and look at the top 4 cards of your deck for Musketeer and put it into play. So this is a break even, but the point of using these is because sometimes you might not have a good field, sometimes you might want to just have more Musketeers in your drop zone, which I'll explain again later. This is basically a combo deck, kinda. So you really need to understand how to play the deck properly, or else you're just going to burn out all your Counterblast and not be much useful. So effect, once again, Counterblast 1. When this card comes into play, sacrifice 1 Musketeer, and look at the top 4 cards of your deck for Musketeer and Superior Call it to a rearguard zone, empty or occupied. 4 perfect guards. This deck, you need 4 perfect guards because you want your level 3s in the drop zone more so than in another deck, because having her in the drop zone is very, very key, which I'll explain once again later. Since this is a combo deck, I'll do all the explanations later because of how it'll help you understand how the deck works. So, for Musketeer Guyvent, his effect is the same as Rebecca. When he comes into play, Counterblast 1, sacrifice 1 Musketeer, and look at the top 4 cards of your deck for Musketeer and Superior Call it. For Musketeer August, kind of the same as Ruth. He's a 12k attacker if you have a Musketeer Vanguard. Now 2 of these, I don't know because it's a common. This card is one of those Counterblast 1, take 1 damage at the end of the turn, shuffle 1 back. So, why do I use this card? First off is a Musketeer, so, you know, it's pretty good. Second of all, it's the only other Musketeer level 2, which is also very important in this deck. Having level 2 Musketeers is very useful. Third, if you get Cecilia stuck in your damage zone, you can shuffle them back into your deck, which is very, very important because you want to have at least 3 or 2 in your deck. So, yeah, this card is pretty important, so I run 2. Level 3s. 3 of this guy, 12k attacker when he's boosted, pretty simple. He's also a Musketeer. And now the star of the show, White Lily Musketeer Cecilia. Oh my god, I'm kind of sick, so not used to the climate back here because it's so cold. So I'm a bit stuffy, if you didn't notice. Okay, so White Lily Musketeer, I'll explain her effect. Once per turn, you can select 1 of your Musketeers, sacrifice it, look at the top 5 cards of your deck for Musketeer, and Superior Call it. So, yeah, it's basically like Rebecca and August, except it doesn't cost Counterblast, and it's once per turn. Yeah, so essentially, this card will help you cycle through your cards. Now, her second ability is a Limit Break. Her Limit Break ability is Counterblast 1, just 1, select 5 Musketeer normal units, so no triggers, just 1s, 2s, 3s, and any 0s that are not triggers, which is your starting Vanguard. Shuffle them back to your deck, and Superior Call 2 White Lily Musketeers, Cecilia, to your rearguard circles. So it'll look like this now. Now, just by itself, it is already very good. It's like, okay, Counterblast 1, I get a +2. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Counterblast 1 for a +2, yeah, sounds pretty good. Haters are gonna be like, yeah, all it does is make your deck thicker, whatever the fuck that means, right? And like, oh yeah, you're never gonna get a trigger now because you added 5 cards back to your deck. Well, let's see, Cecilia's ability, scrap it, and then search for another card. Well, then I only return 4 cards. Okay, it's just 4 cards, man. And maybe I get, you know, there's a lot of things you can get. You can get, fuck, I don't remember his name. Right, I forget. Get one of him, sack this, search for another thing, maybe you'll get something like this. It's very common to do that. Now, maybe you're not so good, and you got like, okay, so I got a Rebecca. Now Rebecca sacrificed that one, and maybe you get this, whatever. Then you move this back, and etc., etc., etc. Normally, you want to have 2 level 2s in your front, because you will have 2 Cecilias in your drop zone. So let's set up a field, something around this. This is actually very common for this to happen. So you double intercept, all right? So that's already 4 that you have in your drop zone, which you'll probably be guarding. So say you guard with another, I don't know. This is not August. The other guy's August. Gwydion or something like that? I don't remember. Jeez, I have bad memory. Or you generally you want to have as many of this guy in your drop zone as you can. So let's assume you have this, and then you guard with other stuff. And next turn you go, okay, superior activate effect. So you take your 2 Cecilias from your drop zone and these. You play these 2 and you shuffle away these back in your deck. You shuffle away 3 cards back into your deck. Now you can sacrifice 1. Hopefully you'll get 1 more, because if you don't have any in your drop zone, there's probably 4 in your deck still, because you're shuffling them back. Sacrifice it again. Maybe you get another level 2. This happens very often. So realistically, for Counterblast 1, you're getting 2 free cards, and then you could potentially use Counterblast 1 to get another 10k shield, which is very efficient. Most of the time when I play this deck, I never have to call rear guards. So it's just like play stuff from your deck, because you don't really need the cards in your hand to play cards. You can use Cecilia to help you fill up your field. Now, if you're saying like, oh yeah, but what if I have, I don't know, like my field's not great. I mean, I never always have free space, which is why these are very useful. If they're in the front with nothing behind them, they hit for 10, which is fine. I mean, say your field looks like this at a certain point, and no, say it looks like this. This is more likely, something like this. And then you're just like, okay, attack for 10, block, and then intercept. Move this back. Next turn you can do it. So at the end of your turns, you want to have nothing in the front row because of Cecilia's skill to get you free cards. So yeah, people who say, yeah, Cecilia sucks because all she does is thicken your deck, and she's a lot weaker than the Forest Dragon, Aberos Dragon Sephiroth, they probably just don't know how to play, and they're probably doing it wrong, because Sephiroth is really not that great. I will do a deck profile on that too, just to show you guys how it works, why people think it's good, and whatnot. Because, out of all honesty, Sephiroth Dragon is pretty bad. So yeah, this is my Musketeer deck profile. Hope you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned for more new BT08 deck profiles. I have 2 more, I believe. And yeah, this is Chan, and this is DifferenceInSkill. Bye.